98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy. Weekdays from 10 a.m. on 98FM.
Shocking story in the news in the last 24 hours. Gardaí are appealing for witnesses after a young woman alleged she was attacked by three men and raped by one of them while walking home. The incident is alleged to have taken place in Clane, County Kildare. The woman, who was Irish, was returning from a night out socialising at the time, and it's believed that the three suspects are foreign nationals, and it has been alleged that one of the men raped the young woman. It's understood that the young woman then called into a house in a nearby estate and raised the alarm. It's just another disgusting attack on a woman in this country. It's happening way too often for anybody's liking. A horrific attack. That's not what I want to talk about per se. What I want to talk about is a tweet that was posted last night by a South Dublin independent councillor, Brian Murphy. Yesterday, independent councillor Brian Murphy posted a tweet that caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people angry with him over what he said, a lot of people supporting him. He was, of course, responding to that story that I just gave you of a woman who alleges she was attacked by three men. It's believed that the three suspects were foreign nationals. And in response to this, Councillor Brian Murphy made the following comment, which appears to suggest that we are only going to see more attacks on women of this nature if we continue to let more people in from third world countries. Here's what Councillor Brian Murphy... Remember, this man is an elected representative. He represents you, he represents me. He's a public representative. Here's what he said on his Twitter page. Young Irish woman raped by three foreign men while walking home in Kildare. Ireland is going to become less and less safe for women in the years ahead as Irish politicians are determined to import huge amounts of people from violent third world cultures. Now, there have been calls for the councillor to apologise for his comments. Others have spoken out in agreement with him, suggesting that his comments were spot on and that many people feel that way but are afraid to say so because of the politically correct world we live in. Let me read out his message one more time so that we're completely clear as to what Brian Murphy said. Young Irish woman raped by three foreign men while walking home in Kildare. Ireland is going to become less and less safe for women in the years ahead as Irish politicians are determined to import huge amounts of people from third world cultures. So basically what he's saying is the more men, I suppose, we let in from countries, from third world countries as he calls them, the more men we let in, the more dangerous it is going to be for our women. Now, we have put out calls to Brian Murphy. In fact, as soon as he sent that message last night, I tweeted him back and I asked him to contact me ASAP. We have been ringing him all day. How many times, Katie, have we rang Councillor Brian Murphy? A lot. We've rang him several times. We've messaged him. We've asked him to come on air and to give his side of the story and to answer the questions that we want answered. This man is a public representative. And Brian, we've spent the last, I'd say, 16 hours trying to contact you, and conveniently Brian's phone is turned off, which isn't good. That's not good enough for a public representative, that his phone has been off constantly. Look at the time now and his phone is still off. That does not make sense. So if you are listening, Brian, we want to hear from you. We want you to give your side of the story. You can't just put up a tweet like that and cause so much controversy and then just have your phone off and not answer questions that people want answered. I would love to hear from you. Text or WhatsApp your comments to 087 798 98 98 or call us on 6797 981. Do you find his comments acceptable? What he is saying is the more we open our door to people coming in from violent third world cultures, I'd love to know what cultures he's talking about, the more attacks we are going to see on Irish women. Let me go to Martin. How are you, Martin? You're on 98FM.
Hello there.
Hi, how are things?
Not too bad. This is Martin, actually.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, there's no R in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dodgy eyesight. Not your fault. Now, Martin, what's your point about this?
Well, to be honest with you, I listen to your show sometimes, but I don't make lots of comments. I just listen when I'm driving. Thing is that this is clearly racist. You know why? Because you see, thousands of immigrants come to the country, and not this country only, to the other European country or America or wherever. The problem makers, criminals are everywhere. Just because they are foreign, it doesn't mean they are criminal, all of them, And also, I've been here for 12 years, and I've been in Irish society for long enough. Like, I've been doing different jobs and all, and I have been doing horrible, and I've seen horrible things from Irish guys. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not saying like they're Irish, they wreck the places and all. No, my opinion is that this is racist because he actually just see because they are foreigner.
Where are you from originally, Martin?
Originally, I'm from Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Now, I wonder, would Councillor Murphy consider that a violent third world country? In Afghanistan, sexual assaults against women, attacks against women, is it fairly widespread?
Okay, let me tell you this. That's if you want to talk about that particularly, I'm actually totally against the culture, against the religion, and whatever you call it. I'm not a religious person. The religion is, my life was not in danger. I can say that in Afghanistan, my life was not in danger. I mean, I came here just the religion was one of the main things that I left.
Okay, because I'm wondering, would Brian Murphy consider Afghanistan a violent third world culture? Now, since you came...
Afghanistan is a different country. Afghanistan is about 52 countries have invaded Afghanistan.
Okay, but tell me about Afghanistan, for instance, and men in Afghanistan and their attitude towards women. Is there a different attitude in a country like Afghanistan towards women than we have in Ireland, or is there?
Yeah, certainly. And when it goes back, like, let's say some parts of it, like, people actually they are modernized some part of it and people respect and all. But in some parts, actually, there's no respect for women. This is one of the parts that I actually don't like about my own country that I was raised up in.
Probably why you left the country.
Yeah, I mean, these things, when you see these things, no matter whether that's a foreign person doing this or your own people doing this, you have to actually, look at it from every aspect, like, whatever, no matter what that person doing or no matter where they are from, they are still criminal. Okay.
But do you consider the comments made by Councillor Brian Murphy? Do you consider them racist?
Well, I suppose. Yeah. You see, I am a foreign person. Okay, I'm a foreign person. Let's say I've been in the country. Let's tell this person, this councillor, he says that we shouldn't allow any more immigrant to the country. But councillor, tell him that you see, a lot of businesses is owned by immigrants. A lot of taxes are paying by immigrants.
Absolutely. You're here 12. You're here 12 years. And let me ask you the question: in the 12 years you have been here, Martin, have you ever had a brush with the law? Have you ever broken the law? Have you ever been in trouble with the law? No,
absolutely not. No, and I'm a taxi driver, and I've been vetted. By Gardaí, and I actually had a police clearance by my own embassy in Afghanistan. Okay. I had the police clearance as well. So that's why I'm doing taxi and all. They did a lot of check and everything. So absolutely not at all.
No, I'm not. Don't worry. I'm not questioning you like a guard. I was just asking to make the point. There we have a man from Afghanistan. He said it himself that in Afghanistan, in certain parts of Afghanistan, yes, there is a culture that violence against women, that women are seen as lower class citizens. But Martin has been living here 12 years. He hasn't broken the law once. He hasn't even had a brush with the law. So bringing Martin into this country, has that caused us any problems? Has that increased the attacks on women? 6797 981 is their telephone number. Text or WhatsApp your comments to 0877 98 98 98. There is a huge amount of interest in this. And that Afghanistan man is calling Brian Murphy racist. No, he's not. He didn't say that. That's not what he said. He said the text is racist in his tone. And then repeats the same thing about his own country because he knows it's true, says that texter. Let's see if you have the balls to go on and talk to Martin then and say that to him. Let me go to Anthony. Anthony, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
No problem. You agree with the comments that Councillor Brian Murphy made?
I do. And can I just start off by saying, Martin, you were asked a question a few minutes ago about Afghanistan and about the culture of women being second-class citizens, women being beneath men, and a culture of female genital mutilation and things like that. And you completely dodged the question. You started off by saying you don't agree with that culture. And you kind of dodged the question basically saying Afghanistan is quite a violent place in the world. So is where all the other immigrants are coming from. They're coming from countries like Eritrea. They're coming
when
from
we say
Ethiopia.
violent, are we talking about war or just the people are eating each other? Which one?
Well,
when we say violence, so you have to. By the way, you have to. I know that I speak a bit good, but the lack of English sometimes my understanding is not as good. So you have to forgive me if I put the word in
okay.
Way,
So
but I can correct myself.
the question he wants to ask you, Martin, is when it comes to your country, Afghanistan. Is it a violent country? Forgetting about the wars, invasions of Afghanistan. What Anthony basically wants to know is Anthony, you might be putting words in your mouth, is violence against women more prevalent in your country than say Ireland?
It is absolutely. I accept that. Yeah.
Okay, so he's not dodging the question, Anthony.
Well, he was when you asked us.
That's what I said. I may misunderstand the word when I say it, so that's why I said I have to correct myself when I say that. Absolutely. Without doubt.
Okay.
We have always seen this problem against women.
My next point as well is that, Jeremy, you said that he wasn't calling the councillor racist. Well, he said his comments were racist, so that's basically saying the person is racist.
Well,
could I make my point, please?
Go on.
The tweet stated facts. It wasn't a comment made off the cuff. It wasn't his point of view. It wasn't his thinkings. It was facts.
Sorry, hang on a second, Anthony. Let's be very clear about this. It's fact. So you were saying, Anthony, it's fact to say that if we let in more people like Matton, that there will be more attacks against women in Ireland. That's fact.
Well, if you look at the statistics all across Europe, Jeremy, yes, it is a fact. Germany, violent crime that has been reported and committed by refugees has gone up by a quarter in the past year. The violent crime against women in France and in Germany and in other European countries rose in the past 3 years by 70%.
Okay, but
we have to look at this as well. That the population of Germany is way higher than here, and the population that the people they let people in, or they immigrate to Germany or England or France. Way more than that, way more than here. You can't even compare it. So the more the people come, the more.
We're not talking about sizes of populations here. We're talking about how high violent crime has risen since European borders have been opened to refugees. And I'm not talking about yourself, Matt. And you've come here and you've started working, and that's very, very commendable. That's great to see people coming into this country who are willing to work, who are willing to put their shoulder to the wheel.
However, Anthony, that's slightly patronising. That's slightly pat Matton on the head. He's a good boy. He came here and he obeyed the laws. Because going by your logic, Anthony, Matton probably shouldn't have come here because he's coming from a country that does not respect women. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
Well, I'm not trying to be patronising. I'm simply saying that there are immigrants who are coming in and they're doing things the right way. There are boatloads of people coming across the Mediterranean Sea every day. They don't have identification with them. Their histories cannot be verified. Their names cannot be verified. The country they're coming from can't even be verified. Whereas there are people coming with their proper identification, the proper credentials. Matton's history was able to be checked with the embassy in Afghanistan. But I never had documentation when I came to Ireland either, because when you flee the country, my life was in danger. My life wasn't in danger in Afghanistan, but I did flee the country. Why? Because I couldn't actually just go and take the passport and say I don't like this country and I go. Otherwise, I will be persecuted. Why you are leaving the country just because it is a Muslim country or something like that? I didn't have any documentation either, but not when I came here. But when I present myself in the embassy, then they check the background back in where I'm from. Then I had an identification back there when I was born. My name is there in a registrar in the village where we are come from. So they took out that and then they say, yeah, you left. They actually had no idea. They just gave me police clearance. Fair enough, I was only 16 when I left the country. 17 years ago. Prior to that, I was in England. You know what I mean?
I don't think Anthony has a problem with you coming here. Do you, Matton? Or do you, Anthony? Do you have a problem with Matton?
No, I have no problem with anybody coming into this country. I have an issue when it comes to vast amounts of refugees coming into the country, because
we don't have vast amounts of refugees coming into the country.
Into Europe.
Into Europe. Yes, we do. Okay,
which means then they're free to travel around Europe.
Okay, in Germany, where they've taken in, I would imagine out of all the countries in Europe, they've taken in the most amount of asylum seekers. They're saying the latest figures show that around 9% of crimes committed in Germany in the last few years can be linked to either refugees or asylum seekers. 9%. I mean, we're talking about crimes here. Look at the Justine Valdez case. What nationality was the man involved in that?
I don't know. Was he Irish?
Yeah, he was Irish. Yeah, he was Irish. From Shankill.
Jeremy, can I say something?
Yes, Martin.
You know, somebody commented, I told them that about this, what you said about Hennessy, Mark Hennessy.
Yes.
Your man in the Facebook, he commented, we don't have problem with Mark Hennessy, we have problem with immigration, that they shouldn't do it. I said, so basically, what does that mean? That's actually the whole point. That's the whole point, makes the person racist. If an Irish person commit a crime, there is no problem. But if a foreign person does the same crime, then there is a problem. So that is a racist.
Sorry, anybody that said that about Mark Hennessy, who murdered Justine Valdez, that said we don't have a problem with him, that person is sick in the head. Whoever said that is a gobshite, pretty much. Stay there for a second, both of you. I want to go through as many calls as possible. Mike, you're on 98FM. How are you? Hello, Michael? Mike? No, he's not there. Let me go to a different Michael then on line 3. Michael, how are you?
Hello.
Now, you believe his comments are dead right. He doesn't have the conviction to stand up for them and actually talk to me on the show, which is bizarre. But you agree with his comments?
Well, the conviction would be a separate issue, but yeah, I think he's right to stand up and say something. Yeah.
No, I admire anybody that has the neck to stand up and say something which may not be a popular opinion. And fair play to him.
It might not be a popular opinion in the media, but believe me, away from the media and away from the TVs, people are talking, and it is a growing opinion. Trust me.
So his comments that Ireland is becoming less and less safe for women in the years ahead if we import huge amounts of people from violent third world cultures. You agree with that? You think Ireland is going to become less safe for women?
The way he said it is the tact is a bit wrong, but he's on the ball. He's on the point. Yeah.
Do you not see how offensive that is to someone like Martin?
I could not care less about offending people, and that's the truth. I do not care.
But
I don't care about people's feelings or anything. I just don't care. I don't care about offending people. I speak the truth, and if I see someone speaking the truth, I will respect it.
Yeah, but as I said, Mark Hennessy, he wasn't from a violent third world culture.
Mark Hennessy got a bullet in the head, right?
Yes.
Mark Hennessy had been a Muslim, he'd be sitting in prison now with a 2 litre of Coke and a packet of crisps and a bag of Mars bars, right?
Well,
getting the royal treatment. Trust me.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that's fair. That's fair to say. But what I'm saying is, when people throw this. Oh God, it's the foreign nationals committing all the crimes. The people that are shooting each other to pieces in Dublin at the moment are pretty much Irish, involved in this drug feud. The Kin and Hutch.
That's a separate issue. What we're talking about.
No, I'm saying no. The point I'm trying to make is, Michael, the majority of violent crimes that I read about in the news are being carried out by Irish people.
No one denies that there's violent crime being carried out by white people or Irish people. The fact of the matter is, our jails are full of Irish people and white people. We hold our people accountable. The problem is this turning a blind eye to foreign nationals committing crime. Now, the fact of the matter is, Muslim faith has a serious issue in regarding sex and sexuality, okay? Really, really screwed up in a lot of ways, right? And this whole thing that it's a religion of love and peace is absolutely not.
Now, Michael, I'm not going to use this as a soapbox for you to give it about Islam on the show. Sorry, Martin.
That's a separate issue. When it comes to religion, it's a separate debate. It's a separate issue anyway.
Martin, are you Muslim? Are you Muslim yourself?
Well, I'm not practicing at all, and let me just give you a very short sentence that there are some things in Muslim religion that I'm totally against, which I don't disagree what it says in Quran that I've been searching, and there are some things that I agree, there are some things that I don't agree. So if I say this to a person, to a normal, actually a Muslim person, including a friend, like they're gonna be mad at me.
Yes,
because I actually say the truth, because they read Quran without the meaning. So
okay, so you are Muslim. You're not a practicing Muslim because there are certain
not at all.
There are certain aspects of Islam that you do not accept, but you won't.
Absolutely,
say to your friends.
Yeah. Just the way they treat a woman in Islam. They say women are equal to men, but in Holy Book they are not.
Okay, Michael. So Michael, there you have, and I don't want to use Matan as the example, but he's on the line there. There you have a man who came from Afghanistan, which he even said himself is a violent country. It has a terrible attitude towards women. He's a Muslim man. He came to Ireland. By all accounts, we should be scared. From what you're saying, we should be terrified of someone like Matan. But
no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said, Jeremy. That's not what I said. I've no problem with him. I judge people on how they act, right? And we do have the problem is, right, there are there's a lot of Muslims. There's 1.8 billion of them, 1.9 billion, right?
Yes.
And they have to be held accountable on certain things, right? And that's all I'm doing. So sorry,
are you held accountable for the atrocities committed by the Catholic Church? You accountable for that? Will you apologise for that?
I'll slate the Catholic Church till the cows come home. I have no problem slating the Catholic Church.
Were you born a Catholic?
I was, yeah.
So are you accountable for everything that the Catholic Church has done in Ireland, around the world?
But the Catholic Church aren't a danger.
No, answer the question. Are you? What, they're not? Are they not?
The Catholic Church aren't going to rape my daughters, my nieces on the street. Muslim men will.
You cannot stand over that comment. That is a ridiculous comment to make. That is so sweeping generalisation for you to make there. I'm going to go to Sinead. Sinead, I'm going to come to you straight after the break, and I want to apologise for Michael's comments. I'm sorry, Michael. That was a disgusting thing to say.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was a disgusting thing to say. Let me go to Sinead. Now, sorry for holding you, Sinead.
That's okay.
Now, what do you want to say about this?
Yeah, I suppose I was listening into the show and I thought it was about time that we actually had some women talk about the topic, I suppose because it relates to us. I want to say that I've had experiences of being harassed by both migrant and Irish men, and to be completely honest, the level that it's accepted amongst Irish men is disgraceful. And for Irish men to try and turn and point the finger at foreign nationals as being the issue is shocking. I think I don't think you can kind of put someone up and say it's their fault because of their culture. I think, like Matten was, individuals make up a culture, and I think there are some fantastic individuals that have come over from what the councillor called these third world countries.
Case in point, that man Matten sounds like an absolute gentleman driving a taxi. Yeah. He's from a country that he admitted himself was a violent country. Do you think Councillor Brian Murphy should apologise?
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I've looked at his Twitter feed and the whole thing, it's not out of the blue. This comment didn't come out of the blue. His comments have been getting progressively more and more anti-refugee in his sentiment.
What Michael said, Michael, you're still there. What Michael said is that his comments represent, what would you say, the vast majority of Irish people, Michael?
A growing number, trust me.
A growing number.
That girl is clueless, by the way. That girl, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She has not experienced any. She's lying.
You think I'm lying?
Yeah, I think you're a liar. Yeah.
Why? What am I lying about?
You saying that Irish men are like Muslim men? What are you talking about?
It's not about Muslim or Christian.
It is about Muslims.
No, it isn't. Ireland isn't a Christian country, is it?
Women, that's what they do in large numbers.
Have you experienced sexual assault, Michael?
Sorry, ask that question again, Sinead.
Have you experienced a sexual assault, Michael? Because
let's ask Michael the question. Michael, have you ever been a victim of a sexual assault?
What's that got to do with anything?
She wants to ask you the question.
Is she going to play the victim card now because she's a woman? She can speak from sexual assault thing, can't she? Is that what
I'm
she's trying to do?
speaking from my own experience. You've spoken from your experience, and I listened to your point of view, and I'm disagreeing with your point of view. And I'm speaking from my experience now.
Tell me your experience about the sexual assault, Sinead.
Yeah, so I was followed.
Sorry, by the way, if you want to talk about it, I don't want to force you to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I came on the show, so obviously I'm comfortable with speaking about it. So I was followed off a bus by someone who I presuming just from looking at them, but they were obviously Middle Eastern. And I was followed, and he came out of the park in the darkness and tried to force me to kiss him. And I had to run all the way home. But that's not, like, I've had that experience with Irishmen as well. Sorry
for stopping there. When did this incident happen?
This happened 5 years ago when I was in college first up here in Dublin.
So you got off a bus. What part of Dublin was this in?
It was in Temple Oak.
Temple Oak. Got off the bus. You're walking, what is it, Bushy Park? Is that where you're walking through?
No, it's a smaller park, just a little green near the housing estate I was living in.
Okay, and this man, it was obvious to you that he was a foreign national, and he was walking behind you. And what happened as you were walking through the park?
Well, he actually tried to speak to me on the bus, and I kind of was polite but didn't really engage in conversation with him. And then I saw he was getting off at the same stop as I was, so I went to the petrol station to kind of give him time to go home, because I was getting a strange kind of vibe off him. So I went and picked up milk and bread and stuff that I didn't actually need, but I went there, and then I started walking from the petrol station back to where I was living, and he'd been waiting for me at the end of the green, and he kind of came out of the darkness and tried to force me to kiss him. And I ended up swinging the milk at him and running home.
Fair play to you. You should have kicked him in the balls, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the heat of the moment, you can't.
You don't know.
No one could judge. And I've had a situation where I was in a nightclub, and someone who was a friend, supposedly a friend or an acquaintance who was Irish, I told it, he'd kind of been all over me all night, and I'd said to him, look, I actually am really uncomfortable with you touching me, can you not? And I'd said it to him a couple of times, and then he went and grabbed me, sexually, and I ended up having to go home in tears.
Oh God! So Sinead, you've just given two examples. One, sexual assault carried out by an Irishman. One carried out by was this man Middle Eastern? The man that
as far as I can tell, I'm not sure.
Did that tarnish your opinion of Middle Eastern men living in Ireland?
I mean, I think for a while I was wary, but I think I've educated myself better, and I think that you cannot judge a majority. You cannot judge a nation of people by what one single individual has done to you.
Michael's trying to come in the back there. Sorry, Michael, what did you want to say?
It isn't just one single individual.
In Sinead's case, it was. In Sinead's case, it was one single individual.
Yeah.
Sinead, hang on a second, Michael. Yeah. Sinead has been sexually assaulted twice. Okay.
No.
Listen to me. Listen to me for a second.
No, there's two different.
Okay, I'm going to put you. Sinead has been sexually assaulted on 2 occasions, Michael. 50% of those assaults were carried out by an Irish man.
No one's denying that Irish men can. Any man in the world, any country has. All countries have rapists in them.
Yeah.
That's not the dispute here. First of all, she was followed home by a Middle Eastern man. The Irish man was drunk in a nightclub.
Oh,
there's a big difference.
Okay, there's a big difference.
No, but that's
okay. So sexual assault is sexual assault, Michael. Regardless of yes, it bloody is.
Don't drink.
Sexual assault is sexual assault.
Look at the group.
Oh, I'm finished with you, Michael. I can't take any more. I apologise for that, Sinead. In my opinion, it was almost like he was trying to justify the Irishman doing it because he had a few drinks on him. Oh, the Irishman had a few jars on him, so it's not as bad as the Middle Eastern man following in a park. I'm sorry that you.
I mean, I can see where he's coming from, in that I have a lot of friends and family that would think that way as well. But my point is that there's an acceptance amongst, like he's just shown, there's an acceptance amongst Irishmen. It's like, oh, well, if you grab a girl when you're drunk, and he was kind of trying to generalise then, saying that, oh, these men don't drink. I've met a lot of Middle Eastern men that do drink.
Sorry, I have several Muslim friends who drink. Stay there for a second, please, Sinead. Let me go to 2 last calls on this. Kevin, you're next. You're on 98FM. How are you?
I'm grand.
I agree with free speech, and I agree with letting people have a platform to say what their opinion is. But I just couldn't reason with Michael anymore, and I know you were very upset with the comments he made.
Yeah, well, I just have to call out the fucking. Oh, sorry.
What's your language? Sorry.
The brass neck of them. Like 1990 was the year that Ireland decriminalised marital rape.
Yes.
Up until 1999, husbands were allowed to rape their women in Ireland.
Yes, that's correct.
We used to keep women in laundries whenever they got married, had babies outside of
Yeah, I do.
Marriage, like
how quickly
it's just astounding how we can completely forget about that.
Oh, we completely forget. I mean, if you're to believe some,
make sure one Middle Eastern man raped a girl. Oh, the entire Muslim world is evil.
Yeah,
like it's.
We forget our own past, don't we? How quickly we forget our own past. I'm sorry for cutting across you, but I'm rapidly running out of time. Shahid, you're the last call on this. How are you, Shahid?
Yeah.
Now, where are you originally from yourself?
Pakistan.
You're from Pakistan. How long are you living here in Ireland?
15 years.
15 years. Sure, you're as Irish as I am.
Yeah.
You find the comments by Councillor Brian Murphy, you find them quite offensive, do you?
Yeah, I think they are racist, and there's no truth in it. And I think he's just being phobiatic, he probably has some issue with the foreigners on different way or form, that's fine, but probably taken out from this issue, he's, but there is no truth about this, it's disgusting, I think.
Well, now, the figures I gave our listeners a few minutes ago about in Germany, how 9% of crimes in 1 year alone were linked to refugees and asylum seekers. So, I mean, there are figures there to back up that crimes are committed by asylum seekers and foreign nationals. Yeah. Have you committed any crimes since you arrived here in Ireland?
No, never.
Have you ever been arrested?
No, never.
No, do you work?
I work. In 15 years, I didn't miss 1 week in 15 years, and I paid tax since the first week I came in this country.
Yet, if you're to believe some people, you are a danger to society, and
yeah,
I can understand. I can understand how that would make you feel.
I feel really disgusting, really upset. I mean. Working very hard. I have my son, I have my wife, paying bills, everything, never claim any social or anything, no criminal offense, nothing. Well, I'm not saying that I'm some saint or something, but I think his comments are completely, there's no truth in it, there is absolutely no truth. There's more attacks on the women happen by Irish people than probably the foreign, But whoever attacked the women is just disgusting,
Yeah, it's just any man that attacks a woman, regardless of his background, is disgusting. I'm sorry for cutting across you, Shahid. Thank you very much for your call. We could have talked about that for another week. Let me read out very quickly some of your text messages. A lot of people annoyed with me. Jeremy, you're a shy presenter. I love that. I love you're feeding me. That's what you're doing. You can send in all the abuse you want because it's like water off a duck's back. Bring Kennedy back, says this person. Jeremy, Jesus Christ, you're a muppet. I can tell you, if Adrian was doing this topic, he would say the exact same things that I would say. So if you think Adrian would have a different view, you don't know the man very well and you don't listen to the show. Adrian would agree with every single thing. You cannot judge a whole culture based on the wrongdoings of a couple of individuals, okay? As I said, and I don't want to focus this on Justine Valdez, but just remember who committed that disgusting crime. It was a man from Dublin, from an estate quite close to where a lot of you live. He was as Irish as I was, okay? So to suggest that all the crimes are being carried out by asylum seekers and foreign nationals is absolutely ridiculous, and I can't stand over that. So I'm sorry if you disagree with the point I'm making. Fine, send in the nasty tweets. It's like water off a duck's back. I laugh at them because most of you didn't have the balls to actually ring the show and have it out with me and actually have an intelligent debate where you could actually argue your point.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy. Weekdays from 10 a.m. on 98FM.